Welcome back to High School DxD Anime Review, episode number 7. This I'm reviewing the 4th season of the series, Hero. This season is actually kind of 13 episodes long because it starts out with episode 0, which is just an alternate retelling of episodes 8 through 12. I have no idea why they did this for, but they did. This is particularly very weird. Yeah, and also, now, I read, there was an article online I read that apparently this season was suffered through censoring. That was only the case for this one episode because everything else is perfectly fine. Nothing else is censored at all. What do you mean by censored? Like, there's at one point when Rias goes topless and they cover her nipples with the D symbol. Yeah, the rest of the season, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, it proceeds similarly to what happened during the second half of season 3, except that apparently the way that EC was when they stopped the Juggernaut Dragon differently in this one was that used music that was brought up by Irina, and that calmed them down with also seeing Rias's, chest. Yeah, it's pretty much more close to how it was presented in the light novel than it was in the actual series. And then pretty much for the rest of the season, for the first 6 episodes is adapted from book 9. What happens in book 9? What happens in this particular episodes? We have Issei, Asha, Zenobia, Irina, and a few others. No Kaneko does not go to. They go to Kyoto, and the whole thing is set there too. And now, before they go off there, Rias kisses Issei goodbye. Though 2 times they make out in this season. The other time they make out in the final episode, which I'll talk about that soon. Yeah, and they go there and they have fun. Like they're there for a school trip. There's at one point. This actually just happened in a light novel when they're at the hotel and Issei wants to pick at the girl, but he has to get back to Ross Weiss. So what does he do? Use dress break on her and ruins her outfit. And the only thing left of her outfit is part of her sleeve from her tracksuit, and she's so upset about that, so she has to go in the room and put a top on. And then Azazel shows up. Yeah. And then, of course, during the day that they were attacked by a bunch of Yanaki, which apparently about Nine-Tailed Fox. When I first read it, I was like, really? Nine-Tailed Fox. Did the writer of the series came with the idea, and when they show what this creature looks like in its actual beast form, it looks almost exactly like Kurama from Naruto, except instead of being reddish orange, this is yellow. Yeah, and Yanaki basically, first she attacks them, and of course they team up. First time she just shows up. First she shapeshifts into a fox, gets there, and pretty much becomes their tour guide around the city. And then later on, when they find out where she is, we find out her mother is because her mother got kidnapped, and she stays with Issei. She basically hops on Issei's back, and they go out. They go via the subway train, and they go to. Now they contact. Now the other half of the girls stay behind at the Heisei residence. Now Issei's parents are actually out of town during this period of time, so Reyes and the rest of the girl, Reyes, Anako, Kiniko, and I think that's it. Yeah, those are the only 3 I can think of. They stay behind, and they get one phone call, and of course they're not contacted again. And then, of course, the whole thing about Issei's potential, first that he drops it, thing disappears, and apparently it starts an epidemic in Kyoto, which turns a lot of the men into perverts, into the molester zombie, as they call them. Yes, I'm not kidding about this. So later on, he gets the thing back from Azazel. He uses it in the final battle, and he does the same thing he does in light novel. He summons Reyes. Of course, Reyes is in her underwear, and then all of a sudden, just by pure magic, her bra comes off, and then of course Issei does the whole thing. Now, I didn't mention this in the last week because this is kind of, something that he does. He pokes her breast, both of them. The first time because like some particular power, like a power boost. This was a big power boost that nearly destroys the whole area. Of course, Zenobia also gets a chance to use her new sword, which had been taken to the church to get power up. Though she says she's virtually naked, she says she's virtually naked. That means she doesn't have her sword. Doesn't mean she's having clothes on. Yeah, when she first said it, it's like kind of spook Issei. And of course, he kind of defeats So-So. Yeah, there's a villain named So-So in here. And he beats him, but he gets away. But he also takes out one of his eyes. We also have Lefay Pendragon shows up. Yeah, she's the younger sister of Arthur Pendragon, the guy who showed up in the previous season. Yeah, he doesn't show up in this season at all. Surprisingly, he doesn't. Now, they also, I forgot to, before I continue with this particular, now they mentioned stuff that happened in Book 8. With Issei countering the Satan Rangers, and one of them with a, how should I put this, a shadow look to them. Yeah, he counted this in later on. I'm thinking Satan Rangers. He never counted them in the show, so basically the show is referencing stuff that happened in the 8th book, which was never fully adapted for the show. I think they kind of started to adapt it, and then they, for some reason, they never finished. I don't know why they skipped this one forward. It's so bizarre. And Isamu's Reyes, of course, gets a big power boost, beats So-So. Of course, he also gets help from Buddha. I'm not kidding, it's freaking Buddha. Though, it's not the statue. No, Buddha's statue is going to be a big overweight guy who's sitting down. This is an old man. And they say this is Buddha. Not kidding about this. And of course, after this little girl's mother is rescued, of course, she had to transform back into her regular form. Yeah, how he does this is particularly quite interesting, because he has this thing called bilingual. I'm not going to call it the actual thing they call in the show. Basically, it sort of reads it's hearing the inner thoughts of a woman. That's simply what it is. Yeah, it's kind of similar to that of the film What Women Want. Yeah, those of you know what that film is, it's a Mel Gibson film where the main character, played by Mel Gibson, gets the ability to read women's minds. This is a very similar ability to that, and instead of reading the minds, you hear their hearts. Not their beats, basically, their inner thoughts in their heart. And the fox lady turns back into a normal person, and looks like she's about to come out of her outfit, and yet she can't put a thing fully back on for some reason. And of course, Issei, when he first saw her, originally a picture of her, he was drooling over it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He was drooling over it. And, of course, she properly thanked them. She thanked them for rescuing her. And, of course, they get an alliance with them to take on the Chaos Brigade. It was actually pretty interesting. Oh, also, I should point out, though, something Issei does not do in the previous seasons, but yet he does in this season frequently. He refers to Reyes as President. Now, I should point out, though, in the first 3 seasons, in the dub, he never refers to her by President at all. He just refers to her as Reyes, her first name. My guess is the Funimation dubbers must have thought, hey, my guess is the reason why they did this, because this is actually a good plot point that happens in Book 10. Also, I found out the reason why the dub actor was replaced, because the dub actor went to jail. I'm not kidding. He basically... Excuse me. This is actually the last show he did before he officially retired from voice acting, because of him getting his contract tore up, because he got charged with, I think it was some kind of sex crime he was charged with. So they basically ended his contract, and this is one of the series he's working on, and that's why he was replaced. Yes, he was replaced with the guy who plays Armin from Attack on Titan. And he also played Komatsu from Toriko. I think his name is Josh Grola, I think his name is. Scott Freeman was the original dub actor. And of course, he's not the only one to get replaced. Anako's dub actor got replaced with Season 3 as well. Though, in the case of Issei's, there actually was a reason for that. Anako's, I don't know what the reason is for why her dub actor was replaced. As far as I can tell, hers was the only one replaced. Yeah. And of course, when the group gets back to Tokyo, and of course back to Heisei residence, Ria chastises them, doesn't punish them, just chastises them for not contacting them. And of course this next leads into Book 10, with Ria basically kind of hinting at her feelings for Issei, this whole thing, and Issei being completely oblivious to it the whole time. Yeah, and eventually it's found out. Now, it's found out the reason why he's oblivious to her feelings, because he's afraid if he does confess her feelings, she might reject him. Yeah, it's something that was stretching back to season 1. They kind of hinted at this in the previous season, but in the previous season, it was Loki who did this curse. My guess is the light novel people who wrote the series must have realized, though, hey, this curse should be still here. Let's have it go back to the girlfriend from the first season, the one who was his first girlfriend. Yeah. And so, how is this curse lifted? By having Kiniko, Anko, and Aja all stripped butt naked and take off Issei's jacket and shirt and sort of heal him. Yeah, Anko was behind him. Aja basically is to his right while putting his hand on her chest, and Kiniko sitting on his lap. And that's how they're. And so he's more open to his feelings. Of course, this sets up later on with the rating game, which was just basically been hinted throughout the first half of this second half of the season. And he first battles Cyber and he has a pretty good battle with him at the start of the season. Eventually, they do take him on in the second half because they had to briefly go to the underworld before they go to the trip to Kyoto. Yeah, it's particularly very weird. Like they go here quickly, just have a brief battle and come back. I'm like, yeah, that's like a 2 or 3 day trip. Yeah, I'm not really sure why in the world they did this for. Heck, even the light novel, this was confusing. Yeah, and of course, when Reyes asks him what is she to him, and he always says as president. He says Prez, and of course she walks away, and of course that sort of leads into the healing scene. And then eventually, like right after he sort of finished healing, then all of a sudden Zenobia and Arena get on the action. They strip butt naked and they all get on top of him. And of course he still got his pants on. Yeah, this is a particularly very weird scene. Of course, this does kind of basically now Reyes was pretty much mad at him basically for not acknowledging her feelings. This is not basically. It does get developed over the course of the thing. Of course, when they first start up this particular thing, to have him not battling or Cyber that happens at the start of this season. This one he starts out with while doing a live action rendition of his TV show, The Grab-a-Dragon. Not kidding. And of course, Reyes has to play the princess because the princess is based on her. Why not? And this particular there's a scene that happens right after the practice where, of course, Issei meets up with Reyes' mother, first or his present's mother. Yeah, he says, don't need to do that. It's completely unnecessary outside of professional stuff. You casually refer to by her first name. He doesn't finally do that until the final episode. And he hears like a little boy crying as he really wants to see the Grab-a-Dragon. He hears him, signs his hat, and gives him advice, which does play into the end of the season. Yeah. And he's sort of told by one of the people who work at the studios, you don't have to always do that. Issei, basically, from his perspective, is like, he felt like doing it because he's got fans. Yep. Yeah, then of course we lead into the rating game. Now, this rating game is actually a little bit differently than the one rating game from Season 1. Yeah, this one's actually a little more professional stage in this Archduke Stadium, and they do a series of rounds. The first one go up is Kiba, and he goes up against one of the members of Cyberworks team. Kiba wins, and of course then they have the Rooks take on the Knight and Rook of the other team, though the Rook actually, Kiniko actually loses her bout, and then we have Anko, of course, take on the Queen. She loses. It was a pretty short battle, but it wasn't as quick as Issei's battle with the Queen. Like, oh boy, this was like a quick, like, 10-second battle. He's about to basically using all his power because basically she defeated Anko, and she was basically forced to retire because Cyborg ordered it. Eventually, of course, Gasper is, of course, defeated as well, and eventually down to like 5 people from Reyes' team, and of course, I think it's about 3 people from Cyberorg's team. Eventually, Cyberorg defeats Kiba, Rossweis, and Zenobia, though they do soften him up for Issei. Now, in the light novel, he does something in light novel. He does actually do the poking thing in the light novel. If I remember, I think he does. Actually, no, he doesn't do that. He actually says a little bit different line in the light novel. He actually says, in the show, he says, I'm in love with Reese Grimmery. in the light novel, he says, Reese Grimmery is the woman I love. He's like, I'm the man who Reese Grimmery, like, it's like, he's like, she's the woman I love. So like that. Of course, this kind of leads into the ending of it. Of course, after a battle with, well, Cyber-Org and his pawn, who turns out to be the lion who fought Hercules. Yes, seriously, it's the lion who fought freaking Hercules and was turned into a sacred gear. I actually kind of like the backstory they give on a lot of the sacred gears. So, we have something from Greek mythology here. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, those who don't know about the lion, that's actually from one of Hercules' 12 labors was defeating this big lion. Yeah, from what I know about the 12 labors. I think he also took on Hydra as well. I think it was his first labor. I'm not sure what labor it was, so he took on the lion. But yeah, I'm glad they threw that in there, which was really nice. And of course, and Cyber merges with the pawn. And from the look of him, he kind of reminds me of various other characters I've seen with a lion type armor. I'm trying to think that which one was it. It was no, I don't think it was Thundercats. It was some other anime I've watched. I think it was Digimon. Yeah, Digimon did have a character where the armor looked very similar to this. It was I think it was Dark Greymon. No, it's Dark Greymon. It was one of the characters from season 4, the Frontier season. The one that a lot of people don't like very much. I love Frontier, and it reminds me of his the look of the Dark Wolf. It's very similar attire. Yeah. And I think also it was also Voltron. There's a few other anime I've seen where the armor is very similar to this. Yeah. Eventually he is defeated by being knocked out. And so he is forced to retire, and of course they win. And because of the battle, Zex speaks to Issei and Cyber-Org at the end of the battle. Congratulates them on a very fantastic battle. And Zex tells Issei him, Kiniko, and Aniko are basically up for consideration for promotion to middle class devils. Which I'm sure for Issei, he's very happy with that. And of course they have a celebration at the school, and then finally, after a little while, he does finally get Rias. He finally finds Rias alone. He confesses he loves her. About the kids, and everybody just barges in, and again, of course, couldn't put a exclusive spot, and of course they all leave, and of course then eventually Issei and Rias have their first regular kiss. Yep. Though the ending of it does kind of lead into, then of course goes to the credits, and after the credits we have sort of this bonus scene. Now there was a scene hinted at prior to this where they explain Cyber's backstory where he wasn't born with demonic power, so he got disowned by his father, and of course his mother basically decided to run away, and her mother was in a coma the whole time, and he tried to use his bilingual to sort of speak to him. Eventually, at the end of the season, now, there is a brief moment when she is seen as a ghost, and then later at the end of the season, she finally comes out of her coma. It's unknown exactly how long she's been in the coma. Based on Cyber-Org's age, it could be about 10, 15 years at most. Yeah, because she fell into coma when he was a little kid. Cyber-Org looks like a guy in his early 20s, so it could be a good 10, 20 years. She must have been in coma for a long time. Yeah. Though, the thing about female demons, they don't age at a certain period of time. Hey, look at Reyes' mother. She's still smoking hot for her age, and she's a grandmother. Yes. Yeah, and of course, Issei tries to do the hot eyes thing at Reyes' mother. The third of the season, though, he doesn't do it when she shows up again with her grandson, Reyes' nephew, who's also Zex's son. Yep. Overall, this was a fantastic season. Yeah, it's really good. Can't wait whenever they get a chance to do another season. So, that's particularly it for this particular review. I don't know when Season 5 is to come up. As far as I know, they haven't stopped making the show. They're probably making Season 5 right now, but they haven't announced yet when the season is going to air. And I gotta hand to Funimation. They did a fantastic job keeping a lot of the stuff in. And for some reason in the dub, like almost every single character swears. Yeah, I haven't seen this level of swearing since Hellsing. There is some swearing in Rosemary Plus Vampire, not as much as this. Like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of swearing in this show. So, like I said in the first episode, this show is not for kids. only for high schoolers and above. That's who I recommend this show for. So the only other time I basically will be reviewing anything for this particular anime review series, I'm reviewing the light novels, starting with Volume 11. I'm kind of start reading that right now. I'm on Chapter 1. I'll probably get a chance to review it the next day or two. Depends when I finish it. But there are several other reviews I plan to do today, which is for Dragon Ball Super, One Piece, Boruto. I'm also going to do reviews for the 2 reviews I wanted to do yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to. And that's for newest chapter of Hunter x Hunter and the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. Expect those videos today, definitely. And I think also there's going to be a new dub episode release for Black Clover, but the next episode review for Black Clover won't be until Tuesday. Tomorrow will be a review of just Fairy Tail, unless of course the thing gets uploaded Tuesday. Of course, Tuesday's got two shows I plan to do, which is Tokyo Ghoul and Black Clover. Wednesday is just Ace Attorney. Thursday, as far as I know, is nothing. Friday is JoJo Bizarre Adventures. And Saturday is just manga reviews. Alright, so until I see you in the next video, bye.